Thank you for joining us on the program, Galadima. Good morning to you.
Good morning. First of all, let me say you are doing a very good program.
Thank you. Please reduce the volume of your TV set so we can hear you better. Thank
It's
you.
already done. It's already done. Um, the volume is totally down now. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you clearly.
All right. First of all, let me commend you on the program you are doing. Let me commend you on the program you are doing.
Thank you very much.
First of all, I think as Nigerians, we should be worried about the way the president goes about giving money to religious leaders and also traditional leaders. It is very worrisome because this kind of situation, I think he's only trying to buy the silence of these people so that whatever the plan PDP has, they can actually unleash it on the citizens so that the leaders will keep quiet. Secondly, I am very worried about the issue of this insurgents. We need to commend the role of the military, but it doesn't put an end to the insurgency in Nigeria. We must raise it to the root. Now, if you are very familiar with this, with how things are in the north, you see the way they push al-Majri in various towns, children living without their parents. It's a serious cause for concern. And I think emirs and religious leaders in the north should be approached towards solving this problem. Parents who give birth to children must take the responsibility of bringing up their children. And the government must ensure that parents do this. If this is not done, the issue of insurgency will never come to an end because we are now approaching the issue from the root. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Galadima, making some points there. Thank you for calling us. You were telling us about the long-term effect.
And going to the long term, which is the most unfortunate and also dreadful one, is how these politicians end up not only funding but also harming some dissident groups, some also unfortunate victims of the political and economic situations that are created in the system. And you could see that happening in the Niger Delta. Some politicians who, in their so much obsession for power, harmed certain elements to assist in rigging the election in their favor. And at the end of the election, they were unable to keep track of the ammunitions that were actually put into the system. And it became a very ready armory for these young people to start a process of the what metamorphosed into the Niger Delta militancy. And the same thing was what happened in the Northeast. It was all about these politicians who also want a favorable outcome in the electoral process that empowered some of the elements in the Boko Haram to support their political aspiration. And at the end of that, it became a challenge, and you could see how the leader of the group was so much associated with a sitting governor before the guy was murdered extrajudicially. And you can see that also trying gradually with what happened yesterday in the Southwest. I mean, it was about getting many of these self-determination group where you have quite a number of people that are economically challenged to get them to some amount of resources and then weapons, because that was clearly displayed yesterday, not even only by OPC guys alone, by even some of the guys you see very close to your stations there, who are the Shuopi guys, always are donning these dark black t-shirts, joining the force to unleash that kind of terror on Lagosians. And what you would see is it becomes very difficult after you see them display that level of pump actions, machetes, and the rest of that. How do you then how do you retrieve back many of these things? And they also disregard for the rule of law, like I said, and also the security of properties and lives is to the extent that you had policemen and then also army officials who were also even marching along with them, who were like driving along with these guys not in uniform, and there's no way they could have had license for the guns they were carrying. And that is the level at which you don't. The only thing that came back to my mind, watching that yesterday, was my experience in Cote d'Ivoire. Because I was there
All
on
right,
behalf of
before you
ECOWAS
share
to
your
monitor.
experience with us in Cote d'Ivoire, I would like to pick this call from Baololo from Benin Republic. Good morning to you. Because of the long distance call, if you can see me, I'm telling you to give us your contribution.
Good morning, madam. How are you?
Good morning, thank you.
I can hear you. Good morning, madam. How are you?
Fine, fine.
Okay. It shows that I'm confused about this election. You know, when good luck was coming up, our father with Mr. Basajo was behind him, 100%. Now, Obasanjo now going back, and he took Buhari. He tried to drop Buhari and good luck together now. It's like, what I'm saying is like you put two children together to match two, they are two heads together. Now he withdraw. Already he left them in the battleground. It is very, very absurd. I'm very, very afraid of this kind of, I should say, father, because Obasanjo, everywhere, all over the world, they respect him and they know what he's capable of doing. But why now withdrawing back? If you want to support Buhari, let's see how you support Buhari to the end. If you're in good luck side, let's see how you support a good luck to the end. But if you look about this Nigeria, you are the apple of the Nigeria. Obasanjo is number one in Nigeria today that I can see. Okay, let's say IDD, well, he has done his part, he has done. Obasanjo claims he did his part, he left. Now, if these two guys now you bring their head together to match each other and want to cut because you have seen something ahead, now you withdraw back. This is not fair. Okay, why we come tomorrow? Nigeria will still talk about him bad. Or a good luck when he came, we love him, everybody say good luck. Now we are condemning him. Why do we come today? Tomorrow, definitely Nigeria will still condemn him. Definitely. Just watch what I told you today. You will see the end of Buhari also. I love Buhari so much because I was in Kaduna when Buhari was in power. Everybody knows I know what he has done to Nigeria. But now, is Buhari going to save us from this problem, or it's come to kill us, or it came to destroy us? Because I know when Buhari has been pursuing this power, a lot of different kind of debt is already there. It's going to solve his problem. It's going to solve the problem of the debt that he already took everywhere. Please, Nigerians, I just want you to know yourself. Hold yourself and be yourself.
All right.
If you want to go to vote, go and vote. If you don't want to vote, start home and watch what is going on. If you see the country is not good for you, please cross the border. That's what I can tell you.
Thank you, Baololo from Benin Republic. Thank you for your contribution there. Well, for clarity, former President Olusegun Obasanjo has not come out to endorse any candidate, either of the PDP or the APC. He says when the time comes, he will say, this is the person I'm supporting. And of course, you telling Nigerians to leave the country, I don't think that's the way to go. If every Nigerian leaves the country and goes to another country, who will stay to improve the country for the better, for the future generations and our children yet unborn? You were making your final conclusion.
I mean, this was, like I said, interestingly, when I was in Cote d'Ivoire with ECOWAS to observe the election, and like some people were already actually warning both the First Lady and the President about the Gbagbo experience. This was exactly how it started. I mean, it was very clear how the trend and the direction of the election was going until the President started manipulating the process and then also influencing quite a number. And like Paolulo actually said, although he got it completely wrong in the analysis, to the extent that yeah, people would criticize, or it is natural, it is acceptable. It is not only in Nigeria. Why the Labour lost the election in the UK was majorly because of the Iraq war and the failure of Tony Blair to live up to that situation. Nigerians will have, we even have the right, like Mr. Falano recently said, to change our oppressors. So if we think that we've given you the mandate for 4, 5, 6 years and you're unable to perform, we bring someone else. After 4 years, we have the right to either change or ask the person to
All right,
continue.
now, Barrister Adegbuyi, now, INEC, like you said earlier, will it be able to enforce this law of ensuring that political parties do not go beyond the threshold of the funds they are supposed to spend on political campaigns and of course in preparation for any election in the country? Now, INEC says recently that it's ready to enforce this law, and are we really sure that a commission can do it, knowing that the chairman, as it is, has enough on his plate? But before you answer that question, we have Godi from Asaba, I think. Good morning, Godi. Godi, are you still there?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
I just want to commend you for your program, boss. And I have some certain things to chip in.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Politics in Nigeria is a do or die affair. I just add it like that. Because you don't expect a governor, a sitting president who has not done nothing to his own state to come and do something for us in Nigeria. He has nothing to offer us. A state like Bayelsa that is just a local government cannot afford an effort. It's unfair. Good road, rubbish. Life is not there. So you don't expect him to do something in Nigeria. So Nigerians, we know that he has nothing to do to us this time around. We are not voting for him. Honestly, we are voting him out. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Godi. Quite a bitter Nigerian there, well, giving us how he feels about the situation in the country. If you say you're voting someone out, remember it's just your vote. You can only speak for yourself who you're voting or not. Thank you, and I would like to implore those that would still want to call into the program to please, before you do, reduce the volume of your TV set so we can have clarity to hear you better and you'll be able to speak more clearly. Thank you as you do so. Now you can answer the question.
Well, I doubt if INEC will be able to do that. Responsibilities have been clearly defined. I don't think it's the remit of INEC to prosecute.
It's not about prosecuting now, but ensuring that they do. Because according to Section 91, pegging the Section 91 of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended, puts the maximum spending by a presidential candidate at 1 billion naira, like we said, gubernatorial candidates at 200 million naira, which of course is funny when we look at how much these people have spent. And INEC is empowered by law now, by the Nigerian Constitution, to enforce that they stick to this threshold, that they do not go beyond this. Now, is INEC, because the spokesperson to chairman of the commission recently, Mr. Kayode, who said that they now have a particular department to look into this, to investigate the amount of monies being pumped into political campaigns by these parties, and to see when they have gone beyond it. Are we saying that we don't know they've gone beyond it? Is the commission really empowered to be able to even go after them?
I wish them good luck. Let them continue to track and audit how much candidates have been spent. But at the end of the day, the statutory responsibility for prosecuting alleged offenders resides and lies with the Nigerian police. Before
you continue, let's speak this call from Yakub, who is calling us from Yobe State. Yakub, rather. Good morning to you, Yakub. Thank you for your time on the program. Go ahead with your comments.
In my own view, most of the politicians don't have the reality of us. That is why whatever they are doing only to favor themselves. They don't mind the popularity as in the popular. So therefore, maybe if they will do better, it's better for them to now try and develop way of addressing the problem. All what they are having as insecurity and any other problem of Nigeria is lack of maybe rationality the problem of youth and putting them into the youth and then looking into the future. They are not looking into the future. Even the insecurity we are having right here in Yobe. mostly as a result of our lack in business attitude of leadership. So therefore, the issue of money in politics is the issue of supporting people. You are only giving them only a one-day subsistence, and then they are mitigating or whatever, they are putting their future into trouble. Because they are spending money and the heat of election. After maybe they have already won elections, they don't mind anybody. So therefore, this also should consider that we should vote for somebody who now look to our future, address our problem, and then bring clarity into the system. But otherwise, as long as we continue voting for those who are giving us money at the end of the election, we are in trouble.
Thank you, Yakub, for your advice there. You called from Yobe State. Please continue.
Yeah, as I've said, there are some laws that they're called dead letter laws. They're in the statute books, but practically impossible to enforce them. We need a systemic change. We need what we call gatekeeping. If you want to fight corruption, ensure that people don't even have the access to illicitly, get money out of the system. Don't be reactionary that it is after they have violated the laws, they have helped them with the till, and you go after them. Put systems in place that will ensure that they don't have access to, illicit wealth. Now,
who is going to put that measure in place, knowing that, according to many Nigerians, corruption is from the bottom, and from the top to the bottom in the country?
In Nigeria of the First Republic, was corruption this prevalent? Corruption was not this prevalent. We had systems in place that ensured that different regions pursued their wishes and aspirations, and things that were almost praying to God for them to give us were taken for granted. The universities at that material time were world-class universities. The hospitals were not consulting clinics.
When did things go wrong? But before you tell us, I would like, let's pick this call from Joel from Taraba State. Joel, are you still there? Apologies for holding you long for so long.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Okay, I have been following your comment that people are discussing this morning, and I want to say it's not about the money in circulation. It's not about the money in circulation. It's about the decision of Nigerians. And the civil servant in Taraba State, we have the same salary of now, salary of February has not yet been paid. And we hear of those who planning to move a loan of 30 billion when we have to have those 3 months to hand over. Imagine. And apart from that, we are talking about trade. It's not just because we need trade. So it's just PDP in Taraba and in the nation as well. We cannot be fooling ourselves. Talking about the Matila Dam that has been used for campaign all over. And from Matila, it is like local government of jurisdiction that people relocated in that nothing is building. All the pictures we've seen are mere pictures. We've not seen any construction there on the site. What I'm saying is on the media, they can go and investigate. Journalists are there. Go to the site and investigate if there's any building taking place there. You've seen all manner of pictures looking at from Matila Dam. If we are from Matila, we have not seen any dam there. In 2011, when the president came in, he told us that he has signed contract for design. In 2015, now that he came, they said they have awarded contract for construction. How long will we get for this thing? We are saying we are putting it out not because we don't want it to go, but because we are not in any dividend, and once we are not giving us the next year, we know we cannot give us the next 2 years. It's not about the now they are giving us another form to say if you're voting, still an include to give a hope number of things, and that they are submitted to the government house. What more? If not for the purpose of it, I told them I'm not doing that form, but I'm going to cast my vote. And I will vote for the person I know that will support the better government. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Joel, Taraba State, from calling us from Taraba State. Thank you for your contribution. Of course, you're supposed to vote for whoever you decide to vote for. It should be your sole decision. Nobody should decide for you to vote for whoever he or she wants you to vote for. Thank you for calling in on the show. Now, we're running out of time, gentlemen, but I will ask you on the last note, briefly now, what should be the stand of the electorates as they prepare for the general elections come March the 28th and April the 11th?
I think the stance should be that this democracy must not fail. We have that lifetime responsibility now to ensure that the electoral process remains free, it remains peaceful, it remains fair, and then we must, as much as possible, ensure that the sanctity of the ballot is protected, such that people's votes are not only sacrosanct, they are also there, and that is most importantly for the electorate. Let nobody tells you to vote and go back home. You need to vote. Stay there. Ensure the votes are counted, and then the results are announced. Take note of the announcement, and then juxtapose that with whatever is released by the INEC to ensure that we consolidate on our fledgling democracy.
All right, Barrister Adebui, I would like to ask you about the distribution of PVCs in your state quickly now. The state, Ogun State, has the lowest percentage of distribution so far in the country.
Things are improving. Over the last weekend, 170,000 PVCs were brought into Ogun State.
Yes.
You know, we engage them from time to time. We're also expecting additional 250,000 PVCs. After that, the governor, for example, in my state, Senator Bukele Amosun, will declare a work-free day for people to have time to go and pick up their PVCs. Now, in conclusion, our people have demonstrated their readiness to vote for candidates of their choice. We can only advise the people who are desperate to allow the wishes of our people to prevail. And remind them, life in opposition is not a sentence to life imprisonment.
Thank you for your contribution to the program today. Barrister B.C. Adebui, Deputy Director General, Amosu Campaign Organization from Ogun State. Thank you.
Thanks for having
coming
me.
to the program. Of course, Mr. Lanre Suraj, political analyst and member of ECOWAS Election Monitoring Group. Thank you for coming to the show. And moving on now, Moses Omoganai is on standby for what's trending on the social media.